Welcome to GovCon Unscripted, where we dive into the unfiltered stories and strategies from all around the world of government contracting. Join host Chelsea Roberts as she explores how to navigate, thrive, and win in this complex but lucrative industry.
Welcome to GovCon Unscripted. This is your host, Chelsea Roberts. Today's episode is a part of a series that we're calling Success After Service. We're featuring brilliant minds with wisdom to share from throughout the federal ecosystem, folks that served in the military and have transitioned out and found some success after their time, either in federal or military service. I hope that you enjoy this episode and the series, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends. All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to GovCon Unscripted. I'm your host, Chelsea Roberts, CEO of Collaborative Compositions. And today I've got with us friend and colleague, Larry Pokroy, Senior Business Development for BayInfotech. Larry, who are you and what do you do?
Thank you, Chelsea. I appreciate the time and interest and I appreciate the question. My responsibility with BayInfotech is federal growth, focus on DoD and civilian agencies. My title is actually Vice President of Business Development, so I'm probably number 3 in the company. So our company is a small business 8A and woman-owned small business certified systems integrator and professional services company. Our differentiator and our DNA is we're really an engineering company. So as an engineering company, our differentiator is we actually build stuff. So we actually have our own IP and we have our own products that we actually sell to the government through Carasoft and also through the GCP marketplace.
Now, you've been involved with federal government for a long time. And if I'm not mistaken, you served in the military, correct?
That is correct. I've had the privilege of wearing the nation's uniform, and that was really my motivation in becoming a GovCon, is that it was a natural and a realistic transition from our military life and career to serving out of uniform. So all I did was change uniforms, and this is my new uniform. Not so new anymore. But yes, I have a long career. I probably have nearly 50 years of experience as a GovCon. Half of my career is with large business, so at least 15 years large business, 7 years with Unisys, 4 years in the IBM world, and about 2 years with 22nd Century, which is a large graduated 8A approaching 10,000 employees. The other half of my career and my passion is small business, because I really want to help small business grow from small to large business status. That's my passion and my dedication.
And that's no easy feat. I think that there's too many folks out there that don't really necessarily appreciate the effort and the amount of time and energy it takes from a small business to grow to a large business.
It is not an easy journey. I feel that the preparation that I have really comes from 2 sources. First of all, the commitment and the discipline, and especially the commitment to the mission, because it's all about the mission we learn in the military. So I feel my advantage over a lot of my peers who haven't had the privilege of wearing the nation's uniform is we really are a lot more focused. We're a lot more dedicated because we understand it's been drilled in our head from the day we first took the oath that it's all about the mission. And it was just continuing to serve out of uniform that we had provided for so many years in uniform. Okay.
And when working towards, and I personally appreciate the fact that mission-led companies tend to have much more alignment with their customers' missions and have much more dedication and focus on what they need to do to help serve those missions. But I think it can get a little bit fuzzy, if you will. It can get a little bit gray for some of those companies that are trying to tackle all the markets. They're trying to tackle everything from the DOW to healthcare to Fed civilian, all across the board. And they tend to get a little bit spread thin. Has that been your experience?
Absolutely. In small business, we do everything that large business does. And I can say that from personal experience. But we do that with 1,000th of the resources.
Yeah.
So if you're in small business, you better accept the fact that you will be wearing multiple hats, and some of the hats that you wear will fit better than others. So that's just a fact of life. You'll also be wearing hats that no one else wears and that you've never worn before.
Yeah, I think adaptability is really key when working in small businesses because you may have never done something that you are being asked to do now. And I think that can go both ways, right? You can find out that you're either really good at something that you've never done before, or you can find out that there's something that you don't have so much interest in doing and you might not want to participate in the future. Have you had experiences like that where you found that you picked up a new skill very easily, or there was something that you just had no desire to do again?
Oftentimes, it's a skill that you pick up that you really have no clue when you first are presented with it. It's a total new and unique challenge. And it's when I wish I was 25 years old again and had all of that knowledge and skills and nimbleness to be able to pick up a new technology or a new piece of software or be able to take a look at code or a process, or on the mission side to be able to gain deeper insight, but especially new technologies and new tools. Since we're all in the IT and IT changes so rapidly, you've got to be able to not only focus, but you've got to be able to pivot. So you really need to be nimble and agile. To me, picking up new skills, I hate to admit, is more times I fall into it and I say, oh, yeah, it's like the light bulb goes off. Hey, this actually worked. So then over time, it becomes more of a muscle memory. You don't think twice about it, but there's always something new. So getting back to your earlier question is, to me, to be successful on the industry side, but especially small business, you have to really embrace and commit to the challenge and to the fact that it's going to be a roller coaster ride. Look what we're going through now.
Yeah, that is a roller coaster ride for sure. I think that everybody can agree that they probably would like to step off this ride now. They might be feeling a little bit weak in the knees or not quite comfy in the tummy right now and with what's going on. I think that's an absolute whirlwind that we've been faced with right now. But it's absolutely the kind of going with the flow and riding the waves as they come, but making sure that at the end of the day, you're still focused on the mission at hand and focused on the relationships that you have. Because I think at this point, relationships are more important than they have ever been. Folks are
Oh,
out there
absolutely.
looking for that support. They don't want somebody to just come in and sell them something, because that kind of is a little bit of a red flag if you just have somebody come in and say, hey, I'm here to sell you something. And then they just, I think they tend to walk away afterwards. Like, it's transactional in that regard.
That'll work in a transactional environment. It doesn't work in a consultative environment, which is really all about relationships. What I've learned in my career, because I've worn so many different hats with the military, I've also had the privilege of being a Govie. I've actually worked for government, so I know what it's like to be on the side of the civilian agencies. And the agency that I had the privilege to work for, when I worked there, we had 12,000 employees. Now that agency doesn't even exist.
Wow. Wow.
So, and it was mostly OCONUS. So because I had served most of my military career outside the US,
Yeah.
worldwide is I had friends all over the world, and I just loved the work. It was so mission focused. And then you get skills in large business. You get the maturity and the processes and everything. And then you go to small, man, you've got to be able to pivot. You got to be able to turn on a dime because nimble and agile is what it's all about, and being responsive.
And I think being responsive is an undervalued skill set, especially within small businesses that are just coming into the industry, folks that are new entrants into the GovCon field. A lot of them are directly pointed to sam.gov, right? You go look at sam.gov and find your opportunities there. Right?
That's right. That's the
I
easy
mean,
button.
but is it though? Is it? Because I think really the opportunities don't necessarily come, they are on sam.gov, but they don't necessarily come to you and you're not able to help shape them when they're on sam.gov. Those relationships are in the
Absolutely.
wind when you've got something on sam.gov that you're just hunting down and finding.
What I've learned in my career is everyone is a competitor.
Right.
So we're all potential partners. We're also all potential competitors. But that's the nature of the marketplace. It's really the way that the seller wants it, and I mean the way a buyer wants it, and the way that the seller has to adapt to it because of the complexity of the acquisition process and the products and services that are being acquired. Okay. So that's where relationships are really key. And I think what a lot of small businesses don't realize coming in is everyone needs to be within your potential relationship sphere because you don't know who you're going to meet on the way up, but you're definitely going to meet them on the way down. So you've got to be able to go wide, you be able to go wide and deep. Okay. Also, smalls make a big mistake when they oversell. The government and large business are so used to having small business say, oh, I'm an 8A and I have 50 core competencies and I do everything. And just like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman, we were experienced with B-2 bombers and F-35s. And that's an exaggeration. But the point I'm trying to make is that really is a showstopper.
Yeah.
So find your niche, find what you're really best at, not just good at, but you're best at. What is your differentiator? What can you do better than anyone else? And bring that as a value proposition, as a value statement. And that's how you'll build those relationships.
Absolutely. I think that there is a lot of times it's companies that they probably just don't really know any better, but they want to say, I do everything. I can do whatever you need me to do. Don't worry, just give me the work and I promise I will figure out a way to get it done. And in reality, I think it makes you sound and appear as if you're really hungry and you really want to get involved. You want to be a part of something. But I think on the buying side of it looks a little desperate. I think that there's the air of desperation there when you hear somebody say, oh, I can do anything or I do everything. I just need you to give me the work to be able to do it. Right. And they don't have that ability to narrow down and focus. And it probably comes down to as well a little bit of FOMO, like fear of missing out. If they don't have the ability to stay in their lane of focus and they don't have the ability to laser focus on what it is that they do best, they oftentimes feel like, oh, I'm going to miss out on something that we could do, that we could potentially do it. So I don't want to possibly miss out on anything that we might be able to do by just simply focusing on what it is that this one or two areas of business where we are the best and we have that really niche skill set. So I think it's pretty common, I know, throughout our industry that small businesses want to be able to probably bite off a little bit more than they can chew. And that's absolutely a critical lesson that I'm sure folks learn either the hard way or they learn it the easier way of trying to come down to some focus and bringing themselves, narrowing their aperture, if you will.
Absolutely. You will learn that lesson. Like you said, you'll either learn it through painful experience or you'll learn to get educated and understand that the process is really what it's all about. You have to be disciplined, you have to be focused, and you have to follow mature processes. Because if you don't, that's when you get spread too thin. And that's a problem that every small business has. Like I said, we do everything that large business does with 1,000th of the resources.
Yeah. And I think that's even harder for businesses to come to some sort of focus and narrow their aperture on what it is that they're doing, because the state of innovation and the state of technology is changing so frequently. So it's almost, if anybody's going to be good at AI or the next cool widget, why not us? We should pivot and focus on that. But I think that there's probably some misnomers with being able to continue to maintain that level of focus on your main line of business, whatever you're really, really good at, and incorporating some of that innovation rather than just throwing everything out baby in the bathwater and saying, okay, now we're an AI company when we used to be a manufacturing company. There's a little bit of conflict and some struggle there for small businesses to figure out how to incorporate innovation into their strategy without throwing out everything that they've done previously and just wholesale refocusing. What's your experience been with that?
If you're in IT, and I can only speak to this industry, you had better accept that change is the norm.
Right.
And the pace of change is getting more and more rapid. So I don't care whether you're 50 years old or 25 years old or 75 years old, you had better embrace that. That's the reality. In the past 3 to 4 years, we've already seen 3 major technology changes. Cybersecurity was really big maybe 4 years ago. And 2 to 3 years ago, it was cloud. Everything was cloud, all kinds of cloud. Now everything is AI.
Yeah.
That's the latest. Next year, it may be quantum. But whatever it is, you have to be able to pivot. You've got to be nimble. You've got to be disciplined. And if you have to train yourself to learn that technology so you can pretend to compete against these 25-year-olds, because they know that technology. They don't have to learn it. It's the only thing they know.
Oh, man.
They've grown up with it. So you have to have the culture and those values. If you don't, this is not the right industry,
Right.
from my
And I
experience.
absolutely. And that's incredibly valuable experience and all of it that you've been able to get over the years of working, not only being a part of our military, thank you for your service, but working for the federal government and working for larges and small businesses. That gives you such a spectrum and a vast array of different experiences to be able to bring that knowledge and insights. We appreciate that definitely on this show. I think that you've shared some fantastic lessons, and I hope that everybody from the audience is getting some good insights to be able to take away from and take away back home to their business. Larry, if folks want to reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you?
Okay, so I can be reached on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to provide my LinkedIn. In fact, you should have that.
Yep.
Also on Facebook, I can be reached. You can DM me through BayInfotech, and my email address, you should have that as well.
Yep.
And so I am active, especially on LinkedIn and social media. That's the one that I'm most active in. Because again, the challenge, you can't be spread too thin or you won't go deep. And
Exactly.
that's a real challenge and a real balancing act for small business. So
We'll get all that contact info in the show notes and make sure everybody's got an opportunity to reach out and have a conversation with you and get a little bit more of your experience and all of the wisdom that you have to share. Larry, it's been great having you on the show today, and I really appreciate your time. For all of our listeners out there, yeah, thank you so much. We'll definitely have to have you back on to discuss after the shutdown's over and what's changed and how you've seen that.
Let's pray that sanity will return.
Yes, yes. I think
It's
we all for
slow
that.
about the mission. Oh,
Yes, and indeed. And so for all of our audience, thanks for tuning in again to GovCon Unscripted today. Share, subscribe, and leave a comment if you can in your favorite podcast platform. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of GovCon Unscripted with your host, Chelsea Roberts. Do you have a GovCon story or need guidance in government contracting? Connect with Chelsea on LinkedIn to be a guest on the show or to enhance your business strategy. Don't forget, your network is your net worth. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your growing GovCon community.